In this video, we are going to be installing the Softlayer Provider for CLM. These are the steps that we will be taking in order to install the Softlayer Provider. We're going to download the provider from communities. It comes as a zip kit. We're going to set the Java home and path environment variables, and then we'll execute the installer, and finally, we will configure the provider. Let's go to communities to download the zip kit. communities.bmc.com, and I will go ahead and search for Softlayer. My very first search result is the integration with BMC CLM. I will select that page, and then I will scroll down to the bottom where we have the actual downloadable content. So we've got installers for CLM 4.1 and 4.5 for Windows or Linux. And then there's also a document with the instructions on how to install. In my environment, CLM is installed in a Linux platforms and it's 4.5. So I'm going to go ahead and download this version. Once it's downloaded, I will go ahead and copy it over to the platform manager. In this case, I'm going to use WinSCP and copy it over. Now I will switch over to the CLM Platform Manager server. I will go to the location and unzip the file. And if we switch over to Softlayer Disk 1, we now see the setup.sh. Let me go ahead and change the permissions so that we can execute the setup.sh. Perfect. Next, before we run the setup.sh script, we're going to set the Java home environment variable. So I'm going to export Java home, and in my case, I already have it copied, and this is the location of my JRE. It needs to be at least version 1.7. I'm also going to set the path. Perfect. And one final thing, as stated in the requirements document, we're going to make sure that a file in the BMC directory called Business Service Management Installed Configuration.xml exists. So we see that that file is there. Now we're going to go ahead and execute the setup.sh. This runs on X, so it's going to bring up my Windows X installer. And then we will go through the wizard. First page is prerequisites, so make sure that you go through those. Then we will select whether we have a single AR server or an AR server and an enterprise server. In our case, we have both, so I will select both. And then we define the server name. Enter the credentials for the AR server. Next, enter the details to connect to the Cloud Platform Manager, including the host name and the OS username and password, as well as the directory or the path for the platform manager. And we're ready to install. So we're going to let this run. This takes a while to install. And then when the installation is complete, we'll go back and configure the CLM provider. The installation is now complete. Let's switch over to the Cloud Admin Portal to configure the provider. In the provider's workspace, in the compute provider, we're simply going to add, and now we have an option to add the Softlayer provider. You can accept some of the defaults here. It's asking for a platform manager restart. And then we can go into the Softlayer provider and configure the credentials with username and authentication key. So we have now successfully installed the provider for Softlayer and configured Softlayer provider.